yeah, what any I'm going to go over my pairs now, and you know, like, so I want to look at the dollar pairs. I want to believe that the dollar can get some strength at some point, you know, because everywhere across the board here is you know, like, opportunities for the dollar, you know. I Can you all see my my screen and stuff now? It's
Yeah.
okay, cool. So I have this, and Steven's not on this call. He sent a great setup on NZD/USD that I want to go over. And so here's Aussie US dollar. And so, you know, it looks like we're in this channel. There's multiple ways we could look at this. Like, we also have a potential throw over here.
Yeah.
So the question is, you know, you can see where we are on the 4 hour, where we are on the daily chart, the divergence going on there. I sent a signal on Friday, and it was at 73.52. Right now we're at 73.64. So one thing that I've been started teaching more because I'm doing it more is just the concept of looking left. And if we look, because we all know that the market's just repeating itself over and over and over. And so looking left here, which is pretty much exactly where we are, how significant of an area this is, right? So the blue line here, well, so we can go back in time. Let's see, this is a really big support and resistance area here. Just a nice zone. And so I've been looking for these zones, right? So this is where we're at right now in AU. So like this blue line, look how significant of an area this has been in the past. You know, let's go to a weekly. And very, very significant. So usually on Sundays, we still get a follow through of that last bit of momentum and flow that was going into the market on Friday. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little more bit of a rally, maybe even to 70.74 before we turned lower. Now let's look at NZD/USD. And so this is what Steven pointed out to me. Let's see, all my pairs are rearranged. And so on just the face value of this, I mean, we've broken out here. So I have this blue line here, another blue line, and he sent me he's a big like zone trader, and really sent me some strategies that I think are awesome. It's these same zones, and it really looks like the market these days are more looking for these horizontal areas rather than diagonal, because there's like, if you've noticed how many false breakouts there have been lately, you know, so these kind of trend lines really aren't as getting respected as much as these kind of just big supply and demand zones in the market. So this one right here, he sent to me in a private message, and he had it marked off here, right? And this was it, and you can see just a big double top, right? So we're approaching this same, and of course this would be the neckline of a double top, right? Just from a technical analysis point of view, that's what this is, and then a huge reversal afterwards. So these are the same areas in the market that we're approaching, and we're about 67. We're at 67.45. So when the market opens, I'm probably going to be putting a sell limit order right here at we're at 67.68. So I'll probably and because especially when we're doing our FTMO challenges, once we get funded, the most important thing is not hitting those loss numbers, right? So which that means if we can get the best entries, and letting the market come to us by using pending orders, I think is the best way to go about it. So I'm going to try putting one here around 67.70, and let's just go back in time to see where else that has been, right? So this is where we're approaching right now. You can see we're starting to get into that resistance. This is the current price. The blue line is the price I have marked off here. And so you can see it tagged and rejected there as support, and how significant this has been in the past. So this is what I've been doing more and more, is just like looking left at the market history, right? Look how significant that was. Big rejection, big spot here. So if you can start to incorporate this into your trading, like when you see a good setup, go out to the weekly chart, go out to the monthly chart, and just see how important this was previously. Look at this rejection here, right? And so that's in you. I'm going to just make a couple more cases for potential dollar turnaround. Of course, US dollar Swiss I've been chasing and gotten pretty chewed up here, but looking at this monthly chart, this area that we've hit and then we broke down, it just looks like a bunch of scribbles now down here. And this right here was Jackson Hole. So we had a big fake out and then a big move back above. And so I interpret this as a false breakdown. And so then I got long up here and then just got destroyed. Here we are below this level. So like, obviously there's two ways we're going to go here. I mean, if we weren't already in these extreme areas, and obviously we're in a downtrend. So like I'm talking about a definitely counter trend move, but look where you're on the weekly RSI down here. I mean, how long are we going to stay at these levels down here in terms of how overbought we can be on a weekly basis? So UJ had a big rejection. There's a lot of so if we break this level in UJ, that's gonna be super bearish for the dollar. This is gonna be a big signal that incoming weakness, dollar weakness is coming. But this looks like it looks like an opportunity, let me put it that way, for a bounce in the dollar as well. So what's up?
What does DXY look like? Because all of these so far we've been comparing USD pairs, and I just wonder, do we expect the dollar to get weaker or stronger this week?
Yeah. So that's right now I'm showing a lot of potential for dollar strength. That, like, the setups are here for dollar strength, but they were last week as well, is the thing. So here we are at the DXY. And so we have this kind of massive breakdown. Let's see. This is a 4-hour. And so this is what I had last week too, right? So
double bottom, triple, quadruple bottom.
Yeah, it's Now we can go to the daily but once we go to these daily and weekly charts, this is like code blue. I'm just going to move this now.
That looks like a false breakdown.
Yeah, so this, where we're at now is not only, retesting this trend line, but it's also 38.2% retracement right here. And then also, just for the sake of what I've been doing so far, we'll trace this blue line here. So we're at like 92.20, or 38.2 is at 92. So if we break below 92, that's going to be so incredibly bearish for the dollar. But I mean, look at this level in the past, right? So this is a huge level for us to get through. So yeah, and so Euro USD, on the other hand, for like the inverse of the dollar, appears to be in a breakout, right? So interestingly enough, I've had this chart up here for a while. From this high to this low, we're about at 127% extension.
Yeah, that looks super bearish, right?
Well, I mean, here we are in 4 hour potential head and shoulders maybe. Now, if we clear this 119 and then get above this high, then I don't see any reason why we wouldn't keep on going to 121, 122. The pound, on the other hand, I think has the potential to just keep on going higher. And this is the last thing I wanted to bring up, is because we are clearly broken out of here from this double top to this bottom. And then boom, like I think this 78.6% retracement, because the pound can kind of do its own thing for sure. And, like then so when I see something like this, and then potentially we got dollar strength coming in, right? So this is what I hope happens. I don't know if it will. So maybe we get a retracement, maybe a little bit of dollar strength, but still now I'm going to look at where are the other opportunities that I might not be looking at for the pound, right? So GJ, same, pretty similar situation. So we have multiple levels. I just drew some fanning trend lines here because we broke out of this. Now we broke out of this. And so I think and then we more or less retested this area, and I don't see a reason why, especially if we see UJ continue to move higher. I don't see a reason why GJ can't just go like into beast mode to this like 142.50 area, because it looks super bullish. So now it's like, okay, there's GJ. So what's up with GA?
I like that.
But I talked about this like 3 weeks ago. We had a false breakdown here, and it seems like we're retesting that false breakdown line. So if the pound strengthens, and I'd been getting long up here and kind of trading this range with mixed results. Now, if we start to see a bit of a turnaround here, maybe would be a decent place for a sell limit right on this line, like because this is another potential zone where all these wicks are bouncing off of, right? You guys see that? And we already hit it once, and look how big that rejection was. So, that is a decent size or a decent signal. Either we got some strength here, or that was a breakdown and a retest before we moved lower. But if we were to move above this little rejection zone, I think it's going to be a pretty bullish move for the pound, because the pound is already, what I'm saying is it's already showing bullish potential in GU, GJ. We can look at pound CAD, which I think is an awesome setup, right? So I shared this in the group last week because we had this breakout of this descending triangle, and look at that, man. I wish I got out like right here, of course, and got like 60 pips, and here we are now.
Feeling proud.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So I think the pound has a lot of potential. I think the dollar has a lot of potential, but we'll have to just see on dollar if it's going to just get, because it might not be a big dollar strength coming in the market, but may potentially a dollar bounce. You know what I mean? And so those are the big things. That's my watch list. My watch list is dollar pairs, specifically AU, NU, for kind of a move lower. AU moves lower, that's going to be the time to go in on GA, right? Because I always think of things in correlation. So AU gets a pullback, that's going to leave an opening for GA because it's already shown all this bullish potential. It's getting a pullback now, and we have a false breakdown, and false breakdown a lot of times leads to a breakout. So, and I think there's a lot of potential in the market, but that's what I'm really looking for. Of course, dollar CAD, God, man, what a letdown. Where's it at? But we're back at 131, right? So are we either gonna, we had this massive,
gap.
Yeah, so we had this huge descending triangle here. Like we saw on pound CAD, we have this, we're still approaching this level, which we retested. So is this support going to hold? If the dollar does strengthen, this could still be a big false breakdown, just on a massive scale, because if we're looking at this on a large scale, we have to look at how big this descending triangle is. And it's, 1,500 pips. So, and typically, a breakout from a descending triangle is going to retrace to the size of the triangle itself. That could take months to happen, but that's definitely a possibility. And let's not rule out the possibility that, I know this sounds a little out there, but from a fundamental point of view, and with all these tech companies that are driving the stock market higher and higher, and they aren't Trump supporters, right? So there is a potential for why wouldn't they make the market take a bit of a tumble, just to add on to the things that would be his ammunition for his re-election campaign, talking about the market being at new all-time highs. So, but I mean, so this turns lower, and hopefully it's not that much, but this turns lower, that would be the window that would bring the dollar strength back into the market, even if it's temporarily. But hey, more than likely this is just going to keep pumping and pumping higher.
Wow, this index has doubled since April. Since
February. Yeah, dude, this is the COVID crash, right?
Yeah, so, right. Yeah. No,
this
from 6 to 12.
Right, man. So that's the crash, and so this is the size of the crash. So that's how much it's appreciated, twofold since that even happened. But clearly that's from all the money that got pumped into the market. Just made these top very, very 0.1% of the population that much more wealthy. You know what I mean? So that's the real scam going on, in my opinion. but nobody pays enough attention or is educated enough to see that. But anyways, we won't go down that wormhole in this.
Yeah.
So, but what you guys want to share charts? I know Rico's driving. Daniel, you want to take the reins, see what you're looking at, man?
Yeah, I'm actually still charting stuff out. I did some back testing last night and getting familiar with these pairs that I picked. So this was really helpful for me because it's giving me a better idea of what you guys are looking at, what you're looking at, Clay, and just getting familiar with these because I've really only traded EU for the most part. So.
Right. Okay. Well, pull up EU. Let's look at it. If you don't mind. If you wanted to wait, it's cool as well.
Let me see if I have it on this real quick. 1 second.
Okay. Mark, you want to show what you're looking at, dude?
Yeah, I can. I trade, for the most part, I look at 4 pairs. And I can share.
Yeah, I just opened it up for multiple.
In here, that one. You guys see it?
Yep.
All right. So I have EU up too. And I was just looking way back, but if I go down to a 1 hour, I see it as a head and shoulders, and I draw a couple different lines to see. So I drew my fib chart from this to up here. Obviously bounds, and we range bounds here for the last, I don't know how long. And now it looks like we kind of broke up, but we're also hitting the 23.6, 119 area, which like you had talked about is kind of that 119 is the magic number. If it goes off, I think it's, like you said, going to 121, 22. My gut feeling is we're going to get dollar strength. I don't know if that's my gut or my hope.
Right.
But as we've been down here, usually when I get down here and you get up to 23.6, I see at least something coming back down to the 50, which is 118.4, give or take. And then kind of see where it goes from there, because I got it. My blue line is 200, and then I get my red line is the 50. So they're down here, so I feel we're going to pull back to those at least, like I said, 18.4, and then kind of go from there, whether we head to 18 or to the moon.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm looking at right now, is just to see obviously we got two months to the election, so a lot of shit is going haywire with all that here in dollar. Like you said, pump, NASDAQ's pumping, but I got to feel that that's going to dump here pretty quick too, just like you said, the politics of it. But that's what I have for you, and I'm not placing any trades on that. Kind of want to see how it opens tonight and reacts into tomorrow. I also trade U-Swiss, which I'm hoping for some dollar strength to get back up to where I have some buys up here.
Right.
But it looks like it. I mean, we got head and shoulders to an extent, or we got big time divergence down here with all this going up. So this I kind of thought was a false breakdown to an extent, right? If I do that, so this is kind of false. So I have a feeling my gut's telling me we're going up.
If dollar Swiss rallies too, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah. I mean, I see us getting back up here to the 90.94 where this consolidation stuff all happened, or these points.
What's it like on longer time frames?
That's an hour, but this is daily.
Yeah.
So we got kind of went over it, Clay, but yeah, we got all the
that's looking
stuff back here in terms of looking left.
Yeah.
But even weekly, this is all consolidation area. So it could kind of range in this area for quite a while before it really decides to head back up here. I mean, by range, I mean from this area, the 9.2, 9.1, 9.3. That realm, and then I also, the arch nemesis of gold intrigues me, as it does a lot of people, but a lot of this obviously depends on the dollar, which I kind of as I have it drawn here in the triangle, it looks like it broke out. So that's dollar weakness, unfortunately, but it also bounced off the 50% retracement that I had. So that
Right. In that top trend line, the wick makes, then it would be respecting the triangle too. I had talked about that in my gold video.
right. And this wick was the Jackson Hole crap. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's a daily
Right.
spike. I don't take a lot of
Not
power
worth
in
it.
that other than just it was a stupid spike.
Not worth much.
But I see it coming back down here at least to 1943, at least to the 38.2, if not down to 1913, or even testing the 1900. And 1900 is kind of the, you know, the guys on Forex Analytics is kind of that bear line, bear bull line. If it heads below that, it's, you know, back down to 1800 versus.
Yeah.
But I feel it's going to, at some point too, also going to test this, you know, the previous high, 2075 or whatever it was. It's just a matter of if it's going there now or coming back down here to retest these first.
So do you ever, like, do you guys, this is an open question, do you first establish your bias and then religiously stick to it? So for example, gold, macroeconomically right now, I would assess a bullish bias because of everything that's going on. So I wouldn't look to short it, even in the short term, right? I would try to look for buy trades. Or do you guys not care
It's
too much
definitely the
and
way
kind of
I look
exit?
at this, and the Forex Analytics guys are. I mean, they're calling it bullish until it breaks 1900, I think, is the way that Blake has talked about it.
I think it's going way higher.
Yeah, so I mean, if this is a long-term trend line or whatever that I have right now, I mean, this goes
That's back to
June, which, I mean, if you go even back farther, I mean, like you said, it's bullish since
Yeah, well, gold kind of has
September
that.
of 15, so.
It's always going to be a long-term bull.
Yeah, so I have a feel
asset.
I'm looking at it to come back to this trend line, which would maybe be somewhere around all this consolidation, somewhere in there, and hits it around the 38.
Yeah,
But
I
it
think
tendency to get these spikes too, so it might go down here and bounce off 1900 and then to the moon.
yeah, I think long term, I don't see any reason why it won't go to 4,000. To be honest.
That's the nature of this asset.
Yeah, exactly, dude. The thing is that is it going to just keep going straight up any longer, or is there going to be a correction in this massive move it has? I'm hoping, like, I've been staying out of gold that once it kind of hit this top and call it consolidation here. Is this all I guess the thing we got to ask ourselves is this a consolidation before it goes higher? Or are we going to get a bit of a correction because the move higher has been so dramatic from 1350 to 2000? Will we get a bit of a pullback to 1800? I sure hope so. I sure hope so, because then I'm going to go in and really establish a long-term position to hold on it and silver.
Yeah, I mean, 1800's down right here-ish, where you have this kind of breakout over that and then consolidate for a while.
Right. And if you go and look at that 1800, 1810 level on a monthly chart, you can see that's right where that former all-time high was. So, you know, it makes sense.
Right. There could be a correction.
Right. So that would where we would retest that open. Now that would be awesome. I would be so happy if it hit that trend line.
And that, if this is considered a false breakout, I mean, that's going back down to 1500.
Yeah, that would be that would be a gift from the trading gods if it went down.
And this little retouch here is 1527.
Yeah, I don't see that much. I think if it hits 1750, then that's going to be enough. There's going to be so many buyers down there that it's going to be like.
Yeah, I can only imagine you get down in this.
Yeah.
This range is going to be buy city, yeah.
Which would be great too. And then with, of course, everything going on, the election, low to zero to even negative interest rates some places. That's just with no end in sight for the next 2 years, 3 years. That's like a recipe for higher prices in gold. I mean, would you agree, Florent?
Yeah. The election is in November, is it?
Yeah, November 3rd.
Tomorrow, September, basically, or after tomorrow.
Yeah, it's on my birthday, so hopefully it'll be a good day.
Really?
I'm
Yeah,
praying for this one, man.
Hopefully
I'm
I'll make some
finding
money that day.
increasingly important to go vote.
Yeah,
Because it's
No question.
it's looking pretty tight, right?
This is the other one I look at is UJ all the time. When I started with Clay back, I don't even 4 years ago. Back in the good old time, he got me hooked on this one.
What's this? JPY.
But I just have a huge triangle coming from this big V, and then obviously just a slow consolidation down. And here we are again with dollar strength. You know, I think we're down here about to touch this, which could head down to the 786, which would be a perfect bounce off that.
yeah. I like that Fibonacci setup you got.
Heaven up, or yeah. Which if I zoom in a little bit on it, obviously with all this, there's range stuff here, but this is going to be on from here to here. This is sitting on 618. So this could be the bottom, or just, you know, quick spike down here and touch
Looks
that.
like it too. Look at those candles.
Yep. Yeah, you got ending the day, you had the down, but then you got some good wicks here hitting the 618. So I'm going to see how it plays out tonight and see if there's any dollar excitement tonight or into the morning and see where it goes from there.
Turnaround Tuesday might be the candidate.
True.
Who was it? It was Rob in the group. I said, okay, we got motivation Monday, turnaround Tuesday, whipsaw Wednesday, turbulent Thursday, and fuck my life Friday. It's all down motivated Monday. That's the trading cycle for
Friday.
I like it.
It's pretty accurate. That would be nice. That would be a great bounce to retest for that area as well.
And this is 105-ish right in this area. So by the time maybe it hits this trend line, it'd be the 105 mark to bounce. And that's kind of what I'm looking at is 105 as a potential entry area.
Yeah, I see that 105 area, that number in the yen UJ as like you get below that, it's like no man's land.
Yeah.
105 is like, that would be that 120, 121 area for the euro, or what we've already hit in gold, and like 1700 in gold. I remember being around there, and then once we busted past there, it was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it, man. I like
I'm
it.
liking this one, yeah.
Yeah, I like you, Jay. I like your look at EU for sure. I think we have a similar outlook here on the yen because it's such a good barometer for what's going to happen with the dollar. Even in some cases, even more so than the dollar index, because the dollar index is so heavily weighted in the euro.
And then I always look at the S&P 500, which I kind of see it. Obviously we're skyrocketing like every other indice, but we struggled up here, came back, we're retesting it. So this could be a nice double top to head back down to somewhere in this vicinity.
Yeah, that's okay.
Which was the previous breakout, which
Right.
is right here, which is 3,400, give or take.
Yeah, that would make sense, because then that's just enough to give the dollar enough strength for the market to get a breather before the next leg up.
Right. Let's get rid of some of this crap. type of ascending wedge.
And did you happen to see Blake's post about the megaphone?
I did. And I had that. I think I deleted what. If I go back here, I think I have it drawn actually. I did. I think that was one of them that I deleted.
Yeah. Rich. I sure hope to God we don't
If we go back down to 2100, 2000.
But you know, just from why wouldn't the market overlords pull the rug out for the market just to feed their political ambitions?
Yeah, and he was thinking we could still get up and touch the top of this if I drew it right. You know, it's just 3,600. And then back down to 3,000-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
27.8, something like that. Down to this 27.8 with all this consolidation stuff for all these.
Right. Even just a move to 3,200
Yeah.
would be, you know, a great dip. God, that would be an awesome buying opportunity, probably. But that would be the catalyst for this dollar strength. So if we continue to keep just looking and putting the big picture together of, okay, so we have these setups for potential dollar strength coming into the market, what would be the thing to, you know, make it happen so it'd be significant? And that is definitely one of them for sure. And well, I mean, you know, it's NFP this week as well. We hadn't brought that up too. So last week was a surprise. The numbers are actually remarkably better than what was forecasted. So NFP weeks are always choppy too. So thanks.
Yeah, they usually build up one way, and then when NFP hits, they just skyrocket in the opposite direction. So
for sure. Thanks for sharing, man.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share? Daniel, do you get that pulled up? Florent, you want to? You up to?
I don't mind.
Oh, okay.
I haven't interpreted any of this in a while, but every time I try to reduce the number of pairs I look at, I end up getting bored. So
Right. Yeah.
let's see. So I had this, and can I do something like this? Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, you're trying to figure out my phone. I've been muted the whole time.
Yeah.
I was thinking for the dollar, I have it going. I still think it's going to continue going down. But I was thinking it might go up by turnaround Tuesday. That's what I was thinking. What do y'all think? You know, maybe the reason that it won't happen. Just if I'm looking at it just technically wise, there's a big engulfing candle taking over. You know, and I see it going down to, let's see.
I'm kind of
It
cutting
might
out.
go down to, then what?
You're kind of cutting out. I think that's a good game plan. Waiting for Tuesday, just like Mark and I both said, is that with the dollar, it's going to be one to like wait to see if that dollar strength is coming in, and then really like jumping on that opportunity. Like, you know, especially you're trading Euro USD mainly, to be like, okay, it's getting rejected here at this 119 area, or 119.20. I think would be a good rejection point. So where can I find my entry to really kind of get a short in here while it dips? Because the dollar strength probably isn't going to be, will probably be short lived. But if you can get in a good entry there at 119, 118.90, I think then we would see it down to 118, 118.10. But turnaround Tuesday could be, I think, pretty probable if it happens.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm muting myself.
Okay, yeah. No worries. Florent, you still there?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Cool. Anybody know why these are grayed out by any chance? This is DXY. I can't go below the 1 day time
I'm
frame.
not sure. I'm not familiar with the Oanda
Trading view.
platform.
Okay, this is trading view.
It's similar to Trading View.
This is trading view.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Then in that case, I have no idea.
Strange, right? Anyway, so what I tend to do when I look at a pair is I go on a monthly time frame, draw some lines, go on a weekly time frame, draw some lines, go on a daily time frame, draw some lines, till I get to a point where I'm on the hourly candle or something, and I'm looking at I'm looking for trades that are about 20 pips stop loss and 60 pip take profit. And it varies, obviously. I mean, you know, but yeah, I'm trying to move away from swing trades because that's what I've been doing this past month, and it requires a bit more drawdown. And obviously here with FTMO, we're looking at no drawdown and minimal losses. So my strategy's got to evolve a bit. And then the other thing that I like to do is trade mostly the dollar, but also the euro pound.
Ah, nice. I love EG. It's Mark's favorite. I'm just joking.
And so what I'm looking for is to establish a bias for the dollar. Look at the calendar. So for me, I mean, looking at this DXY, we're retouching the trend line here. To me, I don't see us getting. Normally, in circumstances like these, right? Ray Dalio is a hedge fund manager. Says that the last time the world looked like this, meaning interest rates at zero, tons of government spending, because otherwise the economy would crash, very high unemployment, things like that, right? This was the late 1920s, and the next thing that happened was we had what we had was a large dominant power for a long time, i.e. the US, and therefore we had prosperous times, but also a second power rose to power to challenge the first dominant one, and that's China right now. At the time, it was Germany. And what happened next was Hitler. And he's saying, in times like these, there's populism, meaning the people get divided by strong beliefs in polar opposite directions. And that's what's happening right now with Biden versus Trump. And we both think we're right, on both sides. And what it's leading to, even in our families, is some conversations that are getting a little too heated. Well, imagine that on a global scale. So in times like those, typically what happens is dollar weakness. The US tries to weaken the dollar so that they can continue to export and make it out on top or better than other countries. The problem is, of course, we also have Japan that's going to do the same thing, try to weaken the yen. We're going to have the euro that's going to try to weaken, but there's a problem with the euro is that actually nobody in Europe, no single country is in control of the central banks. So they don't have the ability to print money the way Americans do, or the Japanese do, or even the British do. Europe lost that a few years ago. So anyway, I'm expecting the dollar, based on this, just to strengthen in the short term. Even though it's supposed to weaken in times like these, I don't see it. You know, it's not happening. It's like barely happening. So if the dollar is about to strengthen, let's look at the USD.
By the way, yeah, love Ray Dalio, and he's been spot on right now, man.
Yeah.
He's been saying since last year.
Yeah, exactly. What's incredible is that he's been studying this for a few years, actually. Right before he started even the Principles book, he was already talking about studying history and like calling on professors and visiting people to try to make sense of what used to happen and what's going on now. That guy's brilliant.
I have a book by him, and it's more or less a case study called Big Debt Crisis. And dude, it's dense. It's dense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The guy's smart, knows a lot about a lot of stuff. This is my chart for EURUSD. This is the daily chart. Again, I like to go from the monthly to the weekly to the daily to the hourly, right? So, and what I'm looking at mapping is, I call these gravs, as in like centers of gravity, as in where does price tend to migrate? Obviously, we're looking at different parts of the debt cycle, different parts of the economic cycle, but still prices will gravitate towards something. And so looking back in time is useful. Oanda only gives me back to 2003. Mark, you had like decades of data. I think you're at FX Choice. So we just broke out of this monthly trend line here. And the question is it going to go much higher or is it going to go back down? If we're expecting the dollar to strengthen, it should be going higher. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm looking at shorter term trades now, aren't I? I need to stop swing trading. So in the short term,
I think, no, dude, I do the exact same thing. I think it's super, super important. My trading got way better when I went out on when I go out on larger time frames and get an overall, establish my bias of, okay, this is where I think we're going. What do we have to do first in order to get there? Does that make sense? So like,
yeah.
whether it's like get a bit of a correction, like I was talking about in gold, get a bit of correction before we continue on to, you know, just ridiculous highs, 4,000, 5,000, what, you know, sky's the limit for it, really. I mean, I don't know, man. But same thing with the Euro USD. You know, I see it's broken out on a monthly time frame. What are we gonna have to do in order to kind of reset ourselves before we go and retest that 121 area? So I think it's a good thing. Sorry to interrupt you. I just think,
no worries.
I think it's a good thing to get that macro view, to establish a long-term bias, and then making a strategy in the short term of how we're going to get there until it's that bias is invalidated.
Honestly, I haven't actually interpreted my charts yet. I mean, this is kind of homework for this afternoon.
Oh, it's good.
Ahead of the week, but yeah, just your USD, I would see this fall.
Yeah.
I know that the trend has been upwards, but also it's been massively upwards, massively fast. I think it needs a bit of a correction before it rises further.
Yeah, and one thing about Euro, yeah, especially if you look at these weekly candles, that was a pretty strong weekly candle we got last week. But so maybe we get a continuation or maybe more range. If you don't mind, I'll just to go on,
please.
especially when you're talking about Euro. And then, you know, I guess we can wrap it up. Let's see. Share my screen here. And so like you talked about, or you know, I talked about with the pound, here we are with the Euro. I see like EG as like the ultimate power struggle in Europe. So it's either ranging, it's the Euro's going to be ahead, or either the pound. And clearly this was Euro. This was with the COVID. And we've broken down out of this triangle here. So this is the time for the pound to kind of reset itself and to gain some strength and to establish itself. So so just like I showed at the start of this, and I'm just so much about putting the big like connecting the dots, putting the puzzle together, and seeing how they're all correlated. GU's breaking out, and so GJ's breaking out. GA has this opportunity to reset itself after a false breakdown, right? So we have this potential, or not, or it just Aussie just rips. But really, I'd see that more unlikely than the pound ripping, honestly. And from what I've been seeing of how things are going in Australia, it looks like they've just gone into really, really hardcore mode with their quarantine, or whatever you call it, when it's, you know, forced imprisonment, really. So I don't see any reason why the Aussie would strengthen. So it makes sense to me. And with euro pound as like euro pound is kind of like the clue for here comes the pound. Here's the time for the euro to take a back seat for a little bit. And just like we said, here's the weekly chart of it. Like it's this huge range. Here's the monthly. And so we, this area, which would definitely be a grab, like you called it, or a supply zone, right? So this is where the price maxes out and resets itself. And here would be the demand zone, I think would be one of them at least. And so
This is all the wicks.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so we can go to the weekly. This was the second area I just drew. But before we get there, I think this looks like a pretty legitimate target. And so, we can also go, all right, so that's a target. How does this match up on a Fibonacci? We could do multiple areas here. So we're almost at that 50%. We could also see how the Fibonacci's level just from this range itself. And it really seems like the pound respects these 78.6% retracements for some reason. The 61.8 though is like right here, which you can see that's an area between these wicks and this wick.
That's looking good.
Yeah. So as far as a downside target, that looks pretty, would make sense, especially in terms of Euro USD, maybe taking a breather, and the Euro taking a back seat while the pound strengthens. I used to not like EG, but I kind of like it more now.
Post Brexit.
Yeah, post Brexit too. That's interesting what you said too about Europeans don't have so much say over that, or any say really, about what's going on in Europe now. If like you're in Germany or if you're in France, and Brexit just happened, so where there's populism on one side, there's more the conservatism on the other, nationalism. Which we're seeing that in the United States for sure with the right, and then the ultra, I'm not even gonna call them liberals because they're not, progressive to the point of communism, on the left side, right? And so we see
you can be extremely conservative and extremely liberal.
Right. Well, as soon as you start censoring people and canceling people, you are the thing that you say you're anti. If you're anti-fascist by Antifa, but you won't let somebody speak out against you or they get shot, like what happened last night in Portland. You're the thing that you hate, right? So, which is the saying, you got point one finger, you got three pointing back at you. So, but anyways, that's interesting what you said with the thing with Ray Dalio. It's just unfolding right in front of us. Europeans don't have much say in what's going on in there, if any,
in their monetary policy.
Right. And the pound is trying to take it back,
Yeah, I honestly think the pound took too much of a beating over the last few years for Brexit, and is about to cross over into a new strengthening phase.
Right. Guess who's back, bitches?
Yeah. Really.
Daniel, want to give it a go?
Yeah, I was doing some back testing and my chart auto-saved, but I'm going to share with you guys what I discovered. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
A little outside of the box, but so I went through, you'll see all these yellow lines where I was confirming this theory I have, which brings me to where we're at now. So we'll go to the daily, And you'll notice that, first of all, we're hitting a trend line resistance from, I don't know, years ago. Anyways, what's interesting about this is I have these 3 candles highlighted in yellow. There's divergence in the RSI. And what makes this unique is the first candle that's highlighted yellow here, right where my cursor's at, and then the second one closes higher than that, and then the third one closes higher than those two, and they make up the 3 high peaks that are also descending at the bottom. Now, every time this has happened, well, not every time, but the other 5 times I've found it through this chart, it's resulted in a drop, a sizable drop right after the third candle, or a fourth candle forms under the third candle at a fourth peak, and it is a huge drop. So if we go back to, let's find, let's do this one up here.
Cool.
So basically same concept. I have these extra ones here labeled because arguably one could say, well, you know, that's the third peak down there. But essentially, the fourth candle that would make the fourth peak caused this drop here, which was like, I don't even know how many pips. I can't count that high. And then, so go back to the daily here so you can actually see it. And sorry, I don't normally use this computer. It's my desktop I use. So anyways, here's same concept. First, second, and then one could argue either of these, they would still be a great entry point, because even if you put a like 1% stop loss on there, since we're looking at, you know, daily, this is some good pips right there. So anyways, I was just playing around with it a little bit and getting a feel for how EURUSD moves with the divergence and kind of where good entry points would be.
Yeah.
And so far, that's what I found. But yeah, I got to rechart my stuff.
Yeah, no, dude, that's amazing, man. I think you're on to in the accelerator training, just to segue back into what it is we're doing too. For you know, I talk about finding your strategy, getting that dialed in, and then really searching that out. You could even build an indicator or something that would find this. But this, what you're saying too, is you just searched out the 3 drive strategy.
Right, and that's kind of what was going through my head is, okay, I started to notice this, and I'm thinking, well, we got 3 drive, we got divergence, and there seems to be a pattern in key entry right around the 3rd or the 4th, arguably how you see it, followed by a big drop or a big jump. Where was the other one?
Right. So we have 1 push, 2 push, 3 push, and then an attempt, which kind of looks like a breakout, but a failure to close above that last high, and then a retracement, right?
Yeah, it's kind of cool how it works. And I saw it like by random chance. I don't even, so I started exploring it. And I mean, I read somewhere where trading, a lot of it's outside of the box thinking. And so that's what I started doing. But I'll show you on my phone here. I've been logging all the ones that I find. And I've actually been kind of drawing. So like, I'm going to post them to the Facebook group so that it makes more sense. But I want to have like 10 in evidence before I say, okay, I feel pretty good that this is actually going to happen. But what's cool is it's doing it right now. So
Right.
on the demo account, I'm going to go open a short position on it and see what kind of drop it gets, because I think it's going to come down.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that, yeah, for sure. I like that outlook. It's pretty, I mean, that is in line with what I started with, what Mark went into. Yeah. With the potential and Florent with and Rico too, with the potential dollar strength coming in. So let's see if the market is just like, fuck your dollar strength. We're going to still just weaken the crap out of it. We'll see. That's a possibility too. But yeah, this is fun, man. You guys, anything y'all want to close out on or anything? I think this is awesome, man. And this is, I think these group calls are going to be even more beneficial too. And it's kind of what we're going to gravitate towards as a group too. And then of course, privately, obviously y'all can message me anytime you want. Most of y'all have my phone numbers anyway, so you can just call me. I don't really care. For any of you all, I'm here to help you guys win. And, obviously this is helping me for my trading this week. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, man. So yeah, anybody have anything they'd like to add or say or
I think that these calls are awesome. I mean, just the sharing of knowledge and bouncing ideas off each other is huge. That's worth its weight in gold. No pun intended, but.
Oh yeah, dude. And
I agree.
what? Just to point out too, there's no right or wrong analysis. It's at the end of the day, whoever makes, gets the trade, makes money. There is no right or wrong. So whatever I say, it could and often is wrong. So if you have an opposing view, share it, please. So because then that could maybe save me from making a losing trade or anybody else. So there's no right or wrong in this group, just respecting everybody else's opinion and journey as a trader. So
I would totally 100% agree with Dan there. I'm glad I know now what the format's like, so that next time, come prepared. Is this going to be a weekly thing, like some days at this time? Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So the weekly Outlook videos we're going to do as a group. I will share this with the other group, because I'll always do the weekly Outlook videos. But our private groups and stuff, that will be saved within the Facebook group as well and shared in there. So
Cool. So then for next time, instead of like sharing random charts and babbling, I'll try to, come with something actually prepared to talk about.
Dude,
Like, what would be great would be.
You're quoting Ray Dalio, bringing in some.
Oh, but that was just like this week's. No, what would be really interesting is if together on Sundays like this, we actually tried to forecast what's going to happen this week. Like look at the calendar of events and say, all right, well, we know that this is happening in the news. There's probably going to be a crash or whatever. Try to, but like, come with maybe 1 or 2 points each that we've actually prepared for the group.
Yeah,
that'd be a great use of time.
That's a great idea, man. That's a great idea for sure. NFPs this week, who knows? You can never really forecast that one, and it doesn't matter if we could try, but the guys in Harvard and Cambridge or whatever, MIT, they try too, and everybody.
They got nothing on us.
No, I don't think they do either. Honestly, maybe just a membership into Skull and Bones.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Pretty much.
So, all right, everybody.
Cool, guys.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. Let's just pray situation gets better in the United States. But either way, hopping on here doing this is like propelling and building momentum for our own futures, and we still got to just stay in our lane. You know what I mean? So, I appreciate everybody on the call and all the people that will watch the call and hopefully be on the next one. So. See you guys in the chat anyways. Hit me up if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the elite group as well. All right.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Have a great Sunday.
You too.